Okay, well, welcome to this live stream. You may be wondering why I'm sitting in bed. I've put my back out, so um, here's Roy coming on. Welcome, Roy.
Hi, thanks. Is
Uh,
anybody else on?
Now, I might need to turn your volume level down, mate, somehow. Either that or it's me just checking.
What, are you getting echo off mine, are you?
I'm just try doing that. Yeah. There was a bit of echo. Yeah. Can you turn your speakers? Have you got your speakers on, have you?
I've got speakers on at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, just turn them down a bit if you can still hear, okay?
Something, yeah. Is that any better?
A little bit, a bit more.
Hang on, if I sit back a bit, how's that?
Yeah, it's still quite bad.
Oh, is it?
It's coming through very loud and very echoey, so.
It's two takes.
Hi, Mark. Welcome to the live stream. Apologies for just getting ourselves a bit set up here. Roy,
Yeah,
can you mute yourself a minute?
yeah.
It's just stomping over everything. Yeah, just put yourself on mute, thanks. Yeah, sorry, yeah, Mark, yeah. I put Roy on mute. It's a bit loud. I don't know what's going on. Just trying to see what might be happening if I can control things anymore. I think I've turned on everything that I can access to echo cancellation, automatic mic adjust levels. Try unmuting again, Roy. Let's have a listen. Oh, anybody there? Can you still hear me, Mark? Oh, the world's gone quiet. Well, I'm going to talk about JMRI, so I'll carry on. I'll do a screen share and talk about what I was going to say. What I wanted to talk about was some of the things I've been doing with JMRI. Application window, that one there. So I don't know if people have seen this before, but this is the layout plan. Well, it's a Panel Pro layout editor view of the layout. It's very confused, but I'm hoping to improve things over time with people's help. Richard's coming in. Hi, Richard. Can you hear me okay? Nope, can't hear you at all. Is your mic plugged in? Don't think you're muted. Roy is muted. I'm going to unmute Roy a second because I don't know if that's muted everybody. I can do that. I don't know if I can even. It says I can. Can you hear me, Richard? Put your thumb up if you can. Yeah. So what's going on? Mark, can you hear Richard if you're still on the stream? Because I'm not hearing Richard at all. Roy, can you unmute and talk to me? Right. Okay. Yeah, you're very, very echoey.
Yeah,
Very,
just two.
oh, very loud. Too loud and too echoey by a long way. So I've muted you, Roy. Yeah, headphones will help. Headphones definitely help. Okay, let's try that.
Can you speak again, John?
Yeah, your mic level's through the roof.
There. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Richard. Yes.
Okay. It's a matter of finding the right thing. I've got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you okay to hear me now? Because I've got my headphones on now.
We're not okay, Roy. Your mic level is way too much.
Whose mic level is?
It's Roy's.
Okay.
Can you exit the stream, Roy, and come back again?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Finiston Central, Anfield Loft. We've got people joining in, so that's great. Hi.
What is StreamYard?
That's what we're using. That's what this tool is. It's a web-based streaming tool. So
where do you get it from?
Just go to StreamYard.com and you can set yourself up on there. It's very simple.
Okay, I'll try that. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's cool.
There we are.
How are you doing? I'm sorry to hear about your gout. That's not good. This is a lovely discussion to have live stream, I know, but
well, a couple of things. One, I have to go into the clinic or a small hospital on Sunday. They're going to change my pacemaker. The batteries run out. I've had it for about 4 or 5 years. Basic problem is I had first time in my life I had a gout attack. I guess it started about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. It's sort of disappearing now, but it's very, very debilitating. It prevents you from walking, and at the same time, it prevents you from getting a good night's sleep.
Nice.
And so you wake up in the morning absolutely exhausted. Hi, Roy. I see you're back.
Hi, Richard.
Right, Roy. I've found a way. Yeah, suddenly I'm getting this edit volume capability. So I've managed to turn you down a bit as well. So that's good. So something hadn't clicked in right just now. So, but it's come in like your volume's fine now. So
yeah, I mean I've turned the volume down quite considerably now, so it should be okay.
Ah, that's very good.
Yeah. I don't. Can you guys see the chat? Are you getting that on your screen?
No, I see nothing. I saw a chart.
You don't. I can see chat in the bottom right-hand corner.
I see just a black screen.
Okay. That's because I started sharing. If I stop sharing, it should go like that.
No, I see our 3 images on the screen. I don't see any charts.
This should be chats visible to people. So I'm not. Oh well, you can't see it. I can. I can see who's joining in.
Yeah. I hope that's gin that you were drinking there.
Oh yeah, lemon juice. Lemon cordial.
All right. I've just turned both your mic levels down again. They're still very, very high.
Let's see. Is there a way I can mic cam, stop cam, mute? Mic side.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, probably a good idea.
My mic is very far down. I can turn it down a little further. How is that any better?
Right, I've just muted Roy because all the desk noises are just coming straight through. So what I suggest is if you've got something to say, then you unmute yourself and say it, and then put yourself back on mute again, if that's all right with people.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
coming in at a good level for me, Roy.
I'm not really hearing Richard now at all.
You're
Very
not.
quiet.
Let me turn up, see if I can.
You're all right, John. I can hear you okay.
Let
Okay.
me turn up my mic a bit.
I thought
Can you hear
that's
me better
interesting.
now, Roy? I don't know how sensitive this is.
Well, I'm putting it back on. I'm putting you back on automatic. It just seems very loud to me. So
Can you hear me now, Roy?
way too loud that is.
I can't hear you.
Roy's muted. That's why you can't hear him.
Now you should be able to hear me.
Okay.
Sorry, Roy, could you hear Richard very loud then? He seemed very loud.
No, it's just normal. I can hear you and Richard normal now.
Can you?
Okay, good. Everything's cool. Then.
Right. Okay, Richard, can I just request you speak a little quieter and move back a little bit from the mic because you are coming across louder than I think. So otherwise, if that's okay for Roy, we'll leave it like that. But you are loud in my headset, so
okay.
So
I'm about 3 feet from my mic.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Okay, so I'll speak softly.
Don't shout because you deafen me.
Yeah, I shout. I tend to shout at times, so I'll be very.
Is that any better from my point of view now, John, or not?
You're still a bit echoey. It's a bit weird, really, because you've got your headphones on, so there's no speaker feedback, and I got feedback turned. Well, I'm using automatic. Let me try those 2 settings. There's more settings here. Try those. See if that's any good. Whoa, Richard, too close, mate.
What?
These are obviously not professional broadcasters.
No, I have to look at the bottom of my screen to see where the settings are. A long time ago, I used to be a radio ham, but that's hardly a professional broadcaster. And I could take Morse code at about 10 to 15 words a minute.
Right. That's interesting. I think what we should do is concentrate on something to do with model railways and JMRI, because otherwise people will be wondering what we're doing here.
How's the volume now, John? For you?
Volume's great. Yeah, that's okay. It's a little bit weird, but anyway, we'll live with it.
Yeah, I've been working on trying to learn JMRI with my test track. One of the problems I had, a major problem I had, which is preventing me, was to get my signals working. So I have them now half working. What that means is when I see the signal icon on JMRI, the first 2 addresses of my real signals now work on my test track. That means whatever I see on the JMRI icon, I see on the real signal. That took quite a bit of doing.
Cool.
But it's only working under SSL.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's the start. I'm wondering if I should try and get them to work under masthead logic, which implies a whole bunch of other things. So I've learned SSL. I know that. Right now, what I'm trying to figure out, which what I was doing this morning was trying to figure out what sections and how sections and transits work. One of the things I discovered is what I have is a bunch of straight track, a turnout, and another bunch of straight track. So what I have to do is attach the turnout to one of the blocks of the straight track.
Yeah.
Otherwise the transit won't work, and I can't connect things up.
Yeah.
Which means you have to define turnouts as blocks, and 2, you have to attach the turnout block into one of the adjacent track blocks and put the whole thing into one section.
Yeah.
Otherwise, things don't work.
No, it takes a bit of fiddling with to get them to work.
Yeah,
I've just
that wasn't told in the documentation. I had to figure that one out
yeah,
myself.
there's quite a good page on sections and transits actually. I don't know if you didn't find it. I mean, if you go,
I found it.
You did, yeah. If you
But
go to this, go to the
But it doesn't
specific.
mention it doesn't mention turnout blocks have to be attached to adjacent blocks. But okay, I figured.
There's a page with a diagram on which shows the different
Yeah, I saw
ways
that.
it goes, but there's a little it's not obvious. I think how you have to do it.
If I was a 10-year-old beginner, it would not have been obvious.
Yeah.
As an 80-year-old person, it's about semi-obvious.
No, I'm still trying to get it right now, and the more I fiddle and play with it, the more I realize there are multiple options and multiple ways of doing it. But I mean, I've recently come to the conclusion maybe I should have all of my sections as only one block length, because multiple blocks seem to potentially cause issues. But I believe the latest test version update of JMRI has had a fix put in, which should mean things work a little differently. So I'm keen to play with that. I even thought about, yeah.
I haven't dared for the moment use the test versions. I'm on 4.22.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm not running a live layout in a museum or where it's critical to have it constantly working. I'm still in development with it. I'm not worried about using the test version so much, particularly seeing as I keep hitting issues which little fixes are coming along in the test versions, and so I'm keen to get those as soon as possible. So but it does mean it's a little bit more flaky probably than sometimes. But I have to say, it's generally speaking, I'm pretty impressed with it. So
maybe you should.
yeah.
Maybe I should use test n-1 or something. Hard to say.
Well, if you go to the updates, it lists where the test versions are,
I
and then
saw
you
that.
can, you can. They've just gone to 4.23.3, which is the So that's got a fix in for trains stopping when they shouldn't stop in blocks, which probably is a good idea for me to have a good go with that one, because that's been one of the issues. But it's a horses for courses. If you really don't want things going wrong because they haven't actually put something right in it, and maybe best to wait till the production release.
Well, I don't want things to go wrong for the moment, because what I'm trying to do is learn it. And so, okay, I understand sections. Right now, I'm trying to learn transits.
Yeah.
This is
And
all
dispatcher.
way beyond my stage at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
This is all way beyond my stage at the moment. I'm still only getting the layout running, or will be doing. I'm still building.
Well, I think it's important. I think it's important, Roy, to think about these things before building, because if you find out that what you've done is not blocked your track properly at the point of building it, then you've got a lot of rework to do later on. I mean, this is. I mean, I see this all the time when people start talking about automation. It's quite often too late, because what they've done is actually physically built the layout. They've not used insulated sections where they need to. They want to do current detection. It's going to mean ripping track up and starting again almost.
That's the problem my friends are facing in Normandy.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that drove me to JMRI as opposed to Rockcry.
Yeah.
he built his layout. So what I've been doing is corresponding with him, because he's about 400 kilometers away, and with the lockdown here in France, there's no way I can get out to Normandy and things. And so he's understood that the way things are set up for current detection, I don't know what he's done in terms of turnouts yet. How he's hooked where he's put his physical insulators in terms of turnouts. But I've been telling him, okay, I've been working with one current detector per block, which will mean essentially one current detector per section, because there's some technical terms which I have to translate into French for that. But so what I've been looking at, it's yes, one current detection per section is good. Second, I'm going to need another detector for stops in a yard, at a station. The second detector, I'm convinced the best way to go is to set it up using infrared, so we don't have to do anything more, play around again with the insulators.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is a way of getting around the problem if you haven't got that in place. It does, yeah. Roy, I mean, that's what you're using, isn't it? Infrared. So you know a bit about using that, and you're planning to use those from the start on your test layout, which is a different approach again, isn't it?
Have you had a look at the latest file that I sent through to you last night of my end-to-end?
I've got it on my screen at the moment, so do you want me to bring it up and we can have a little look?
I mean, I'll explain briefly what the plan was. I've tried to incorporate what would be the current sensors in all the blocks. So.
Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. I've switched on everything here. Probably don't need everything turned on at the moment because it's showing too much. You tell me what you want turned on.
Well, no, that's fine. Just leave the sensors. Leave the sensors on.
Oh, which one's that?
Both sensors, left and right. Oh, just left will do at the moment because they're just identical.
Yep.
Right. The yellows, are the physical sensors. Those are the actual infrared sensors. The diamond-shaped grey ones are the pseudo sensors that will be passed back from the track layout, but as software from the Arduinos, but they arrive at the JMRI as a separate set of inputs. So although if you take the left-hand side, you've got those 6 sensors, which are the yellows, coming down the red sections there, which are the end sections.
Okay.
And then, so from the layout, you're going to get 6 outputs of physical and 3 outputs of pseudo goes across on the RFID system. When it gets to the other side, to effectively the receiver part, where the JMRI is, that goes into 2 different Arduinos. One that handles the 6 yellow real sensors, and one that handles those 3 pseudo sensors, and puts those into JMRI. So JMRI thinks it's actually getting 9 sensors, when physically it's only getting 6. So that's the idea behind it. Now that means that there's no isolators anywhere in that layout except at the junction of the points where the turnouts themselves.
Okay.
What I'm not sure of at the moment is how, and I think Richard was talking about this before, how you allocate the point to a section, if you like, to make that active when a loco is going through it. So if you come along the top track from left to right, you come to the first point, which is in blue, of course, and the sensors that would pick that up is the first yellow sensor as it's accessing it on its entry, and that would then instigate the pseudo signal for the occupancy of that section. Now, what I'm not sure is how that relates then to a block. I've allocated that as a block itself in its own right, or will be doing.
Okay. Well, I see a couple of things. One, that blue set of points. Are you throwing? Are they in one isolated block where you throw them? Where you throw them together, either in closed or open? Because I don't see a break between the two things.
No, I mean there is an isolation between. There's two isolators in the actual turnout section, if you like, going across from one track to the other.
Okay.
At the junctions, it's just that I've not shown them because it's just a normal procedure. That.
What I would do, or what I would try and do, since I just learning that this past week, is I would take the upper blue turnout, make it a block in terms of JMRI, and when I define my section, put two blocks in the section, the purple track containing the S5A4 and that blue turnout. And then I would not worry too much about sensors on the turnout. I just worry about a current detection sensor in that purple block, in that purple section attached to the two blocks. Okay. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. When we come to actually configure JMRI, it may not need to use the sensors, those three sensors. Those three sensors there are primarily for the signals if needed, but also I use those as part of my scripting that I do. I've got a whole section of scripting which is ready for testing.
Okay, that's a bit more advanced than I'm doing.
Yeah, I think what
I'm using SSL.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in JMRI that can be done without using scripting, and
right.
it really depends on if you're just trying to set signals and stuff. But I think what Roy's trying to do as well is do throttle control and things. So yeah, it might be a bit overkill, Richard, for what you want.
Well, I don't know what I want. I know I know where I am. Point A. I want to get to point B. I know what for the moment. I know what point B is. I know how to get there. Once I get to point B, I'll probably have some vision to see that there's a point C even further on, which would get into what Roy's doing.
Yeah.
But I have virtual signals and real signals working in terms of the turnout, depending on two things. One, it depends on the position of the turnout, and two, it depends on the sensor after the turnout. In other words, the signal's protecting not only the turnout, but it's protecting an occupation sensor, which is after the turnout in the block.
Yeah.
So it'll go red in either one of those circumstances.
Yeah, it's simple signal logic does allow you to do all of that. I mean, signal mask logic allows you to do quite a lot more. I mean, SSL only has a small range of options for checking things. When
just while you're talking there, John, if you can turn off the wagons, you've got wagons turned on at the moment, the yellows and the brown. Turn those two off.
Hang on. Turn wagons on. Which ones is that? I didn't think I had them turned on.
Oh.
I'm looking. I think that must be under something else. That's under Inglenook layer.
Yeah, sorry, Inglenut. Turn off the
There are.
Inglenut
That's
and
it.
turn off the. Is there another one? There's one there. No, that's it. That's
That's
all.
it.
That's all. Right
Right.
now,
Okay.
can you turn the signals on?
What are the signals under?
A bit further down, signals and signal ads. Forget the signal ads. That's on the
Are,
right. Go
are
back up.
signals?
You've got left and right.
Are
Go
signals?
back up a bit.
Oh, L signal.
That's it.
Oh no.
And that just shows what I've got allocated for the signals
Yeah.
temporarily at the moment. But I don't know whether those are right or not yet. What I've looked at is the point that if you take the middle track, my thoughts were that effectively you're coming along the middle track, you can either stop or you're going straight on, which is the lower green, if you like, and the upper green is to go left or to go to the turnout route. Same for its opposite, and the top track. I don't know whether that's right or not.
Well, here you enter into the whole question of whether you're trying to follow an authentic signaling system or not, and different countries, different, even different railroads, different regions, whatever, have their own ways of doing it. So,
well, this is what I say. I mean, I'm not sure whether that's right or wrong, or whether I've got the idea correct or not. I'm not into signalling. I mean, I'm not into model railways in real terms. Primarily, I'm into electronics and control. So a lot of the terms that's used within, sort of the model railway fraternity, shall we say, is all fairly new to me.
Yeah,
I've always played with model railway, but, shall I say train sets?
Yeah.
Rather than model railways.
The use of signaling in JMRI is very much kind of defaults to an American process of working out what to show as an aspect, and one that is based on the idea that you have a number of color lights for each route that you're taking, and the routes will show red or green if first of all if the turnout or the point is set in the right direction, but also if there's blocks occupied ahead, then you'll get yellows or greens.
So take that first pair of that first set of signals on that centre track, going from right to left, and you've got effectively. I've tried to arrange it in such a way that there's a red and green, which is for straight on, if you like.
Yeah.
And then just the single green, which is going up onto the top track.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying really that is wrong.
Well, I'm using a two-head with what I'm doing with SSL is I'm using a two-head signal.
There isn't a right or wrong about it. It depends. It completely depends on. I mean, you'll find different uses in the UK. British Railways have occasions where they use two. I mean, it's not common. Two heads are not common if you don't refer to a feather as a head. But I mean, we do use feathers, or we use routing indicators for platforms sometimes. That kind of thing. I mean, a feather indicator is where you get a string of white lights, which kind of point in the direction,
I came across this the other day and looked it up.
Yeah.
I know what they is. I couldn't find any feather type signals.
In JMRI, well, you won't find it. No, you won't find it in
any rail.
Well, any rail. You can go to the track libraries and open up, or the object libraries rather, and open up different signals. So, but there's so you can go to Fleischmann or Hornby signals or whatever. So you can choose different types in there.
I don't think I found anything that was feathers.
But that's not going to. I mean, the thing in any rail is that's not going to be operational. It's only when you get into JMRI and start trying to actually, set it up properly. I mean, in planning software, it doesn't. It's irrelevant really.
Right. Okay.
It's just. I mean, it may be nice to have it looking right on there, but it's when you come across into JMRI, that's when you need to decide first of all what signaling system you're going to be using. And if you use the bulk standard one, then you take the defaults that provides. Otherwise, you need to choose a system, and there are lots of different systems in there. One of them being British Railways 2000 and BR 2003 or 2008, I think.
Oh, right.
I
In
saw
that
the BR thing. So now I know it means British Railways from what you just said.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in that case,
The
when it
French
gets to
system,
the
the SNCF, is not there. So my philosophy, which is personal to me, was if there's a switch, two signal heads, one for the diverging, one for the continuing. That seemed, if I look at JMRI basic signaling, they seem to support that. If depending whether the switch is thrown or not, it's red or green. Depending on whether the block ahead is occupied or not, it's red or green. And what I was looking at now into transits was to see if the block ahead is not there, but the block after is occupied, it should then be perhaps yellow. But that seems to be my own personal signaling
If
system.
I show you my panel, I can show you one of those signals kind of working. So I'll just share that for you.
Okay.
Just got to find the right window. Okay, now I'll zoom in a bit here. You can see a number of signals on here.
I see lots of them.
Lots and lots of signals. But
yes.
Look at this one here, for example, on a slope. Just because the track goes around the corner and I'm trying to, do it going around the corner. So this signal here is looking at this junction. It's actually located just before the junction on this block boundary.
Okay.
And what we want is for this to, it's got this feather on top. So we want the feather to be active if that route is selected. Obviously, if it's going straight on, then we don't want the feather activated. Also, it's got a shunting signal, so you can do more complicated things. Yeah, BR 2003 is the signal system in there. You can just choose these. This is a large mass, so if you wanted to show these, you have to then choose the icon type large. Otherwise, it won't show up. It just shows up as the regular little kind of light things. This one is. Now, one of the annoying things about these masts at the moment in JMRI, unfortunately, is that the clickable area for the icon is too big. I must have a chat with somebody about it.
I ran into some problems with that too.
I'll just zoom out a bit because it's quite hard to click on things around it once you've got the mast there. And what I can do is I'll run an auto train. I'm going to run one from Newquay, so hopefully this will work. Famous last words. I don't know if you can see what I'm actually clicking on the screen.
No.
Not seeing anything now. No. Don't worry, I am clicking things. Okay, well, bear with me, sorry. One of the most frustrating things with JMRI for me at the moment is that the transits are not sorted by alphabetic order in the list which I'm seeing. And it doesn't help choose the right one. I'll do that one.
How many transits have you got, John?
Rather too many. Right, okay.
Me to death,
Don't worry about it, mate. It's all a bit of fun. It's all a bit of fun. Right, can you see that we've got a white allocated track now?
OVO1.
Yeah. So I've set up to run an auto train. This is Nuki over here. So it's wanting to run that route. At the moment, my points are not set properly to go round and up the branch. So the signal's red. So I want to change 1422. So I'm going to pull that lever. And also 225's or 285, whatever it is, 2285 is wrong. So change that one, and 1392 is wrong. And now,
where are you getting those numbers, John?
These are my signal levers here.
Yeah.
And they're changing the point. They're changing the points going up around this loop here.
Right. Oh, I see. Tell 1392. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And now, as a signalman, I've got to say which direction is the train going. I've got a up and down button here because it's a single track working. I'm going to say it's an up train, and now you can see we've got the signal with the feather.
Right, I see the feather lit up.
Yeah, and now if I click on the auto run button, with any luck, he says, I'm just wondering. Right, for some reason, I've still got a red signal. Still got a red signal here, haven't I? So despite having go signals elsewhere, there's still something that it's not liking, and I'll tell you what that something is. It's because as yet we have not given. Zoom out, be easier, no zoom, there we are. Over here is a token machine, and I haven't given the tokens to driver yet, because it's all interlocked fully, you see. So I give the tokens to driver. You can't quite see the exits off the screen, but there are. The tokens now out of the machine, this one's in. You don't have to have any of this. This is me getting ridiculously silly. But can you see the auto trains now driving off and going around there, and the signal's gone to red? So it's occupying the blocks. It's passing around there, and it's the signal's now set to red.
Could you zoom in a bit, John? I can't really see anything.
This was all white previously. The train's here now in this section, heading off down there. OVO1 about to go off the screen. You see that, right?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. You can see where it's going there. It's got a double yellow ahead of it now. For heading down underneath the hidden sidings. And I think he's come to a grinding halt, and that's one of the bugs.
What's caused it to become where has it stopped effectively in that section under the hill?
I know it stopped. This is just before it goes down under on the right hand side here. It stopped even though he's got signals are clear. I mean, double yellow might not be enough for it, but I can try that by setting it to proceed and see if that helps. But it's not actually going any further. And the bug seems to be that if it's trying to go into the last section of an end-to-end run, it's failing to actually advance at the moment. That's where the update to the next version might fix that. So, I mean, you could drive it on manually if you wanted, but anyway, that's and you can see that this signal has gone to green again.
Yeah.
So and that's because this is if I put occupied anywhere along here, for example there, then in theory something that's interesting. Yeah, I've just chosen the one block which was fairly newly built, and so yeah, there we are.
That's from red now, yeah.
That's not included in the signal mask logic at the moment because I've missed it. But
Right.
yeah,
You
that's
just
gone to red.
mentioned you just mentioned there, John, that effectively, which is correct, is like an end-to-end, which is more or
Yes.
less what my end-to-end layout is. So it'll be very interesting to see if we can automate that just end-to-end on first, obviously, just one of the tracks, and then the other two later on. But
Yeah.
that's going to be a little while. Yes, okay.
Yeah. So it's yeah. You once you've set up the transits and your signals, you can do it. I mean, it's not. But it is tricky getting those transits to work. I mean, particularly when you start saying, well, if you have several routes you can take, you might want to have several different transits for covering the options. And whether JMRI really enables it to happen properly internally is something that can be discovered as you're going, really, because um, these the the discussion I had with Steve last week from the community was that really it was designed initially with the automation for what they call cornfield meets. So two trains on a long American layout which need to pass each other at the only passing loop for hundreds of miles, and they only pass in one place, and that's where the safe section is. And that is how it was originally kind of thought that people would use it. If you start trying to do something which is a bit more involved, then the code underneath may not be as rugged as you'd like sometimes. So somebody was trying to get multiple trains to pass through a station, and yes, it does work. I've got multiple lines on my in my hidden fiddle yard, which it will route trains through. But if you try to use alternative routes, the coding for handling the tables on those doesn't always quite get right what you're trying to do, doesn't always present the right options. It can't always see the routes that it needs to give you, the choices that you might want. So there's quite a number of improvements needed, and I'm keen to get people to look at this and see what they can do, and anyone who's got any technical skills in coding can delve in and try to improve some of it, because yeah, it's not quite there yet.
If I understand what you're saying that you have a fiddle yard with, say, 5-6 track, a double-ended fiddle yard with 5 or 6 tracks in it,
Yeah,
some of which are occupied,
yeah,
and you have a train coming into the fiddle yard, and it's up to and it wants to get through to the other side, so it's up to him to choose which of the non-occupied tracks
yeah,
there is and to go through.
yeah. You have to set it up as alternate transits,
Yeah.
and yeah, trying to get those to work is interesting. It seems to offer them not necessarily quite when you would expect. It comes up with a pop-up on the on your screen, and it might not. Personally, I would think it would be sensible if you've built an alternative transit for it to automatically choose the alternate if it cannot use the primary transit.
Yeah.
And I don't see why it needs to pop up a message on the screen saying, "Do you want to take the alternate?" Because why?
Maybe what happens if you have a choice of, say, 2 alternatives, not just one?
Well, I've tried putting in two alternatives, and it doesn't seem to know what to do with it. So at the moment, I think it works with one, just about somehow.
Well,
Yeah, it needs some work.
okay.
It needs some work.
What I'm doing is, okay, I'm just learning what transits are. I've got some problems setting up some blocks, but I can try and I can try and do, once I get that, I can try and do a simulation. Just have a fiddle yard and a loop
Yeah,
around
yeah,
the fiddle yard, and see what I can come up with. But the other thing that I'm thinking of want to learn after the SSL is the masthead logic.
Yeah. Well, the thing primarily with masts and transits is what happens with allocations and how that affects the mast. Because with mast logic, if you do an automatic discover with masts for the signal logic, it will include any direction sensors for your sections, but you have to have direction sensors set up for your sections.
Okay, I'm just learning what they are. They're sort of virtual sensors which don't move, that are either forward or reverse.
Yeah, I'll show you on mine again. I think it's easier to show you rather than try to explain it, actually. Okay. I'll zoom in a bit because it's not very well organized. I mean, this is a very experimental kind of thing, but as you can see, you've got these little yellow dots, which are the sensors dotted around the place.
Bugle 19.
This sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
These are my direction sensors. I've just got them. I've got them wherever I could fit them in on the layout, basically. And it's not. I haven't got this ideally set up at the moment either. So, but when yeah.
I was going to say, what are the purpose of the direction sensors as such, and what are they related to?
Right,
they don't seem to be real. I'm not sure yet. This is right where I am. They don't seem to be related to too much in SSL. They're virtual sensors, two per block, which essentially seem to define the direction of a block, which is arbitrary. It's up to you to define it. And they don't relate to the transit of the train. They just relate to a definition in the block of definitions of reverse or forward. And I admit I don't understand them very well.
If you look at this, what I've got going on, there's a train running through there at the moment, and this bugle is off this side.
Yeah.
And that's because that's a direction sensor for this transit, or this section rather, and it's saying that section is currently allocated. So Tolkan to bugle is allocated, which we can see here. Now the train, it hasn't cleared that yet because the train has stopped here for some peculiar reason. It doesn't want to carry on up this way, and so it's waiting until it's finished its transit through there to clear that allocation and therefore that direction sensor. So question is, why is it stopped and not carried on? And I will started it again. There we are.
The signal is against it, isn't it? Red.
It's gone past that signal. Yeah, there's
okay. So
yeah, it's gone. It's moving on now. It's moving on now. But this will once that's cleared that section, this direction sensor returns to on. On means with direction sensors inactive, which is a bit odd, but it'll take a little while to get out of there because it gets held up at bugle. But
yeah, the question really is, what is actually controlling those two bugle sensors? Is it logics? Is it scripting, or is it?
Yeah, it's the auto train running through using dispatcher running through the transit. So
and you set something up in that, do you, to do it?
Well, the dispatchers, the auto train is part of dispatcher. It's all I ran an auto train. The auto train is using the transits and the sections. The sections have got the direction sensors in them. Those direction sensors get automatically set when the block's allocated.
Okay.
according to the once you've allocated using dispatcher. I mean, you might not be running an auto train, you might just be manually allocating, but if you allocate some blocks we're using dispatcher, the direction sensors will get set up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll know more about it next week.
Yeah.
I'll
That's what
know more about it this time next year.
Yeah.
I think the first thing, I'm itching to get something functional so that I can actually play with something like this. You learn by your mistakes. So hopefully, when I can start doing something, particularly on the end to end, then I've got a chance, of seeing what happens and what I can play with.
Yeah. That train's just left Bugle, so this is now.
It's gone cleared now.
This is
Yeah,
cleared. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the other layout, the 5x3, that's going to be a few months off, I think, mainly because of the shortage of equipment from Pico. I actually spoke to Hattons yesterday, and they're saying that the receipt of any Pico track work is diabolical at the moment, and it's because they haven't been able to do any production, more or less, for the whole of last year. Because their work area or their factory is so small, they couldn't do the social distancing during work periods. So they were running literally on about a quarter of the workforce. And a lot of the workforce that were doing sort of, say, one job at a time, they had to relearn to be able to do 2 or 3 different jobs. Until they could
Been difficult.
organise where different people were coming.
Can I just say welcome to Little Wicket Railway, who's popped into the stream. Hope you're still there. And I can just say I do enjoy your channel. So I can't think what your name is now. I'm sure I can't refer to you just as Little Wicket Railway, but yeah, excellent channel. So on the chat.
I don't see any support.
No, I don't think you guys can see the chat, and I'm not sure how I get you to see the chat. Yeah. Well, maybe you're not. Maybe you're not at the bottom of the chat. Are you all the way down at the bottom?
Yeah, but I've got it on private at the moment.
2:53 p.m. Little Wicket Railway. So I've just stumbled across this interesting to hear other people's experiences with JMRI, particularly like your token system. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, Little Wicket is just coming on the chat.
Yeah.
No, I don't see anything about Little Wicket on the.
You can't see it. Okay. How did you get it, Roy? Because I can see it.
Yeah, I've got it. I've just seen the answer. Yeah, just saying thanks very much.
I think you need to maybe.
I'll back John's comment because I've been looking at Little Wicket and it's a really nice layout.
Yeah. Very informative channel. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been using Little Wicket to one of their things to learn all about. They have a nice little simple setup with one turnout and 2 straights, 3 straights, and that's what I've been using to set up and modifying it to what I need to do to learn SSL.
Yeah. So I've just turned you down, Richard, because you've lent right in. You are. You're bad boy. Get back.
Right.
So I'm not very good at doing that very quickly. So anyway, okay, turn you back up a bit. I don't all that. Mark, nice to have you still on board. You're totally lost. Well, I think most of it. The thing is, I think some of this is pretty new, not only to the model railway community in the UK, but it's not used very much in America even. The most popular part of JMRI is Decoder Pro, which is you can find out all about that on other channels and other videos. I'm happy to look at that at some point if somebody wants to, and I'd like to share some of the things I've done with, for example, setting up my Bachmann 25, which is a lock sound 3 decoder, to make that sound different. You can go in and change CV settings in there, but I'd maybe use Decoder Pro. You don't need to use Decoder Pro to do that, but I could do a demo of Decoder Pro if people were interested. But yeah, I think Panel Pro and some of the other things in JMRI are less used, and I think there's a growing interest in what the capabilities are. So
I've essentially been using Panel Pro in order to set things up, set up SSL, and I'll be using it to set up the masthead logic when I start learning that in about another week.
Yeah. I mean,
I haven't touched Decoder Pro very much.
No, I've just made contact with a guy who actually lives up the road from me, who wants to put his he's got I think it's about 12 by 3, something like that layout, MPD. He wants to have his points activated. He's talking using panel of some sort, and I said, well, have you thought about using screens to do it, like computer screens and smartphones and that? And he was like, oh, I'd like to do that. So I'm saying, well, JMRI, we could use servos to do it, hence my email to you, Roy, earlier about your the request for servo stuff. I mean, the costs can be a lot lower than people imagine if you go down that route, and it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Another one that I thought of actually afterwards, after I'd answered your previous email.
Oh, hi, Tom. Tom's on board. Yeah.
Yeah, and also Anfield Road.
Yeah, hi. Anfield Road as well. Yeah, brilliant.
And who's that?
There are more than just the three of us. I only see the three of us.
Well, you got to get on the chat, Richard.
How do
you got to click the right button, mate.
Click.
Must be there somewhere. Must be there somewhere.
What button?
Whoa, don't talk too loud.
Okay, what button do I have to click?
It must be a chat button to show the chat.
I see mute, stop cam, private share. I see share. I see leave studio. I don't see any other buttons.
Share your screen, John, and show him.
Well, I don't have the same. I'm in the studio version because I'm running the stream, so I don't think I see the same thing.
All right.
Okay. I just logged in. All I did was just log in with the URL that you gave me, so I don't know anything. I don't know anything else.
Yeah, I've just turned you down again.
Okay, I'm trying to speak with a very low voice now.
Yeah. Your mic is very, very good just there.
After I sent you that previous email, John, I had another thought. There is a system that's been produced by Merck, which is called EasyBus. And it's
I've heard of it.
Purposely I've actually got one. I've actually got a system called EasyBus, and it's all proprietary items you can buy. It's based on a 2-line LCD display that plugs on with a shield that has buttons on it, etc. And that plugs into an Arduino Uno. And you can get it has 2 cards. One's an output card based on an Arduino, and the other one's an input card based on an expander. And you can have up to 8 channels of 8 items if you can have more actually, but the default is 8 by 8, so you could have 64 points running simultaneously. And it already has the outputs or the connection, shall we say, for controlling the frog relays.
I'll be right back.
Okay, Richard.
And you also are able to program all the points, etc., from the Arduino. From the EasyBus. All it needs, literally, and this means it can connect directly into an output port of the JMRI to drive it, just as though you would do a point.
Yeah.
And there's several people actually using that at the club on their own layouts. And 2 or 3 of us have we've actually redesigned all the software for it to try and help. because the initial software was very good, but it had limitations. So we've actually generated a new set, which is primarily for our own use. But obviously, if anybody wants it, it's there. And so that is a very good system as a possibility for the colleague of yours.
Might be worth, yeah, might be worth doing, exploring that option in a future live stream. I'm just aware, Little Wicket Railways just asked a question. Do you manually run your auto trains in Dispatcher, John, or do you have a way of importing or scheduling? That's the bit I'm missing and what to develop. Well, I think I can answer that one. I have. I'm just going to mute Richard a minute because I'm getting some feedback on that. I have in Dispatcher, in the Dispatcher options, chosen to use trains from operations. Now, if you do that, what you get is an interface effectively with JMRI operations module. And that means that you can select trains you've built in operations and you can run the trains from operations in Dispatcher, which is precisely why I'm using JMRI rather than anything else, because I've been using operations for some while and getting to grips with that, and I think it's a really, really good product. And the interface with Dispatcher makes things very interesting. So you'll be very welcome, Little Wicket, if you wanted to come on the stream. If you want to make yourself known on live camera, you'll be, I think you could do that. There should be a link somewhere which lets you come in if you want to come and discuss things, and I can show you maybe, or if not, keep in the chat and then I'll just maybe share something about that on here. Let me just think what I can get to. Yeah, if you share screen, where's the share screen button gone? Oh yeah, share, there it is, share. I had something on top of it. That's okay, so I'll go to there. I'm going to share my trains window from he's yeah, that's fine, Little Wicket, no problem at all. Yeah. I'm or unemployed. I'm showing on the screen, if you can see it, the trains from operations. So these are the yellow ones have been built, the red haven't been built. I'll just deselect show all. So these are all the trains that are built, and I'm using a British style head code for the train identification. But once you've built the train in operations, if there's a locomotive then attached to it, it will show that against the head code. So OVO1, if you can see this, can you see where I'm pointing? Yeah, so D825, that's a warship, is currently on the OVO1, and that means when I go into Dispatcher to run a train, I can choose that train to do it. Now I'm not sure, you can't see that screen, can you? I'll stop sharing and reshare. Right, so this screen is Dispatcher, and in here, when you create a new train, you can see that it comes up with the head code of the train, because that's what you're selecting from operations. So what you're doing is using all the trains from your schedules, from your locations and things that you built in operations into Dispatcher, and then you can run that train using the auto train in Dispatcher. So it's very powerful, actually. It gives you a lot of capability. setting up schedules, you know, where wagons are, where carriages are, doing all that sort of stuff. So yeah, Little Wiki, you're very welcome. Yep, be good to hear from you. Great. I hope that answered your question. Did that make sense, guys? Was I talking nonsense? Richard, I muted you. Sorry, because there's a bit of noise on the line. I'll unmute you. That's it. Right. Okay. Sorry. Did that make sense?
Are you talking to me?
It does to me.
Roy? Yeah. Richard? Yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah.
All that kind of thing I want to look at doing.
Yeah.
Probably on the 5x3 layout, which there's going to be some time off, but I'm hoping to get moving on my end-to-end within the next 2 or 3 weeks. The PCBs are actually en route now from China. They're due to arrive on Sunday, well, Saturday/Sunday. I've got all the kits ready to solder them all up, so next week's going to be a big soldering job. I've got all the sensors and I've got all the hardware ready, apart from the printed circuit boards. And the next stage then is to actually get it physically running with the DCC. So that's going to be a bit of an exercise for a few weeks, I think. But then I can actually play at last.
Yeah. I mean, I keep intending to go and play. I'm in a big build stage at the moment in the attic. So I was wondering if maybe on here, because every so often, perhaps what I should do, in fact, is get up something of what I've been up to in the attic. If I'm not in the attic streaming, I should at least show people something, I feel. Otherwise, they'll be thinking it's all in my head. Well, I mean, on this stream, I should share something of what I've been actually physically doing occasionally, if that makes sense. So what I thought I'd do is if I command
up a camera.
Well, no, I've got a cunning method of doing this. This is a bit of an experiment, but if it works, I will be happy. What I am going to do, if I can figure it out. Right, okay, that's got to be over there. Okay. Sorry, I'm just getting all my tabs lined up. I'm going to share the screen. And as in the days of Blue Peter, here's one I made earlier. So this is just a little clip. I don't know if you get any sound coming through. Probably not while I'm. No, I can't even hear the sound myself at the moment. I've turned the sound on. Anyway, yes, that's not entirely successful. Oh well. Did you see a train move?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's because the thing is, I've been using my phone to take clips up in the attic when I go up because it's convenient and it's a good little camera and things, and it actually makes nice little videos. And I'm on that social media thing called Instagram. Yeah, so if you go on there and the John's 00 trains, John's _00 trains, you'll find me, and I've put a few clips on there of my TTS Sound 37. You have to go right on the first picture to get the other clips. So the first ones are still, but if you click the right thing, if you know Instagram at all. But yeah, that was just a clip. Yeah, that was a clip from there. So it's what I should do is download everything and have it on the machine here, and then I can share it a bit more easily. Excuse me a second. The phone's going.
Roy, what I want to do is, if I can share the screen, show you what I set up as the signal thing. I don't know if I can share the screen. 1 second.
I don't know whether you can without John.
Share screen. And
I'm back. I don't. Yeah, I think that will be fine if you do that. Normally I would appreciate people asking before they do, and please make sure nothing inappropriate is on there.
It doesn't seem to. Can you
Yeah,
see
I'm not sure how that sharing will work. I may have to choose a different format or something. No, I'm not sure if it will work.
I think streaming on, I'm not sure about this one, but I think probably streaming is easier to do on Zoom.
Yeah.
Sharing screens.
Can you see a shared screen with my tracks on it?
No.
No. Okay. I'm not sure how this works either. Stop screen.
Oh, there we are. There we are. I've got you. There we are. Yeah.
So this works. So I've set my signals. This is what I just finished working. I set my signals up. You can see the two heads here. The top one is for straight ahead. The bottom one is for the diverging. And if I put the divergent track on occupy, the bottom one goes to red.
Yeah, that's cool.
And if I switch the turnout, it goes to green. There.
Yeah, for the straight ahead route. Yeah.
Right. So this is SSL logic working.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are current detection sensors. This is a stop center, which is virtual for the moment, but it will be an infrared sensor. And when I'm working, these are virtual signals. Anything marked with an S, like this one and this one, is a real signal. So what really happens is my little LEDs turn in function of that. So what I'm setting up is I have a block table, tools, tables, sections. There you can see, you can edit. So the left section consists of two blocks. It consists of my left-hand block and my turnout block, which is, and if I don't have the turnout block in my left section, things won't work because the tracks are just, because if the turnout block is not in the left section, this and this will not be connected to the left block, so it has to be put in. That's one of the problems I had run into.
Yeah, the way they talk about this is that you don't have I think you've got a block connected to the throat of the there's a block boundary there, is there, on the throat of the turnout? Yeah.
This is a block boundary, yes, over here in green.
Move your cursor slowly, because I think it's disappearing when you do that. So can you move the cursor to it?
This is the block boundary. Oops, I was sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
I was on the
that's
right.
It. Yeah, that's it.
This is the block boundary. So
yeah.
This turnout, which I've defined as a block also,
Yeah.
I have to put in the same section as this block.
Yeah. Which is how they suggest you do things.
Right.
What I mean, I have heard a cheat, which is to put a tiny bit of track at each of the each leg of the turnout, which is in the same section still.
Right. I've
Um,
done that on my main layout in Normandy.
yeah, I'm a little bit dubious about that as a solution. Um,
This solution seems straightforward. I prefer
yeah,
that.
I mean,
So
if it's working for you, then
it's
yes,
working.
that's fine.
So
It's
the
just sometimes there's a zero length bit of track that's needed as well. Um, just
Also,
to just to s- well, it's to do with the internals of JMRI and how it does its block routing, and it doesn't like it doesn't like things around junctions. Yeah, it's just
what I'm going
maybe
to
the
do
latest
next
version might
is close the loop
solve a bit of that.
here.
well,
Because
there's highly intuitive things and there's JMRI. Um,
right.
So
and yeah,
once I have this loop closed, I can make a couple of more tracks here for a fiddle yard, and then try and automate the stuff. Then what I'm going to want to do is automate the stuff going through the fiddle yard.
yeah,
But
cool.
but this setup is real. It's on my dining room table.
Yeah. I would say have a go with masts. I mean, if
I
you know,
am. I
um, what you can just right click on the block boundary and and assign the mast. I mean,
yeah.
is that how? Yeah, it's how you're setting the signal master. But there's an issue with signal signal to SSL logic being set up at the same time as mast logic or
Well,
signal heads. And I'm slightly confused because sometimes heads are used to define masts, and then there's an issue with heads and SSL. I don't quite get it. So I'd love an expert to come on here and kind of talk us through it all, but I'm
what
not
I've
that
done
person. So
what I've done is this. Here, let me close this. Don't show again. Close here. Quick. Set panel pro. There. I have a completely different profile, which I'm using for SML.
okay,
And if I set that up, okay. So then I pick up my panels, load panel, tracks, and this is completely separate. And this is what I'll be using to put the SML going.
okay,
So I'm keeping the things completely separate. I don't trust things to do right with if I'm mixing up.
yeah. Well, that's probably quite wise. I've ended up probably mixing stuff up, and it may be causing me problems, but well, we'll see.
Well, there'll be some redundancy here. I agree, but there'll be no
Yeah,
interference problems since I'm using completely two different uh, setups. The problem I have a major problem with SML for the moment. I resolved it with SSL. That's the drivers, because when you set up the masthead logic, you need a driver table, and that's where the physical addresses go in and the aspects go in. I haven't sorted through that yet.
yeah. It depends what system you choose when you first add the mask, doesn't it? Because you have to say what you're using. So, what are you using? DCC decoder or something, or what's the option you're
I'll be using a DCC decoder, the same decoder I use for the SSL,
right?
which is a digicase decoder. So I've set the digicase decoder. I've got the start addresses worked out. That works under SSL. So now I have to figure it with the help of a bunch of people. So
Hmm.
now I'll have to get the same thing to work under SML.
Yeah.
And once I get that working, I can go. Well, I'll set up the SML virtually first.
I mean, normally, if you're using a DCC decoder, it will come up and ask you for what the addresses are for each of the things you need. So you then just tell it what the different.
Well, I know what the physical addresses are. That's not a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
The problem is a lot of the problem basically is I'm using an intelligent decoder, which means it's got built-in aspects.
yeah. That can start getting interesting.
And
Yeah.
as you
So
say,
are they,
interesting,
these
yes.
signal heads and that sort of thing have to function with a DCC decoder?
I'm
Say again,
sorry,
Roy.
I can't hear you, Roy.
Do the signal heads, whether you're using the SML or SSL, do you have to use a DCC decoder to actually
I'm having
operate them?
I can't hear you. Can you turn up your mic or something, Roy? Or maybe
I'll turn him up. I can hear him fine. I must be. I'll turn him up a bit.
I can hardly hear Richard at all.
I can hear you now
Right.
much better.
Okay.
What were you saying, Roy?
My question was, if you're using either SML or SSL for controlling the physical signals on your layout, do you
Right.
have to use a DCC decoder?
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm asking you, is that what you have to do? Do you have to use
Yes.
a DCC decoder?
What?
Perhaps as well.
I don't
What?
have to use it, but I am using one.
Yeah, but what a DCC decoder implies something, I think, but obviously it's just a signal on a couple of wires. But at the end of the day, it depends on what it is you are trying to install in your hardware, and yeah, so there's several different. You get different options in there when you're setting your masks up as to what you want to choose. So
I assumed that JMRI would just be effectively driving an output for whichever state that you wanted the
Well,
mast or the signal to be in, whether it be.
Essentially for SSL, that's true. The problem is the intelligence inside the decoder. The decoder has certain presets. The preset used for switches is not, well, it has about 7 or 8 presets. One of the presets is for Dutch signals, another preset is for German signals, etc. And this permits you to do all sorts of interesting things, which I do not want to do. What I want to do is have an output of the decoder at a given DCC address to turn on a given LED in my signal. This I've managed to do with SSL. I'm going to have to learn how to do it with SML.
Okay.
And
I'll have to have a look at that at the time, whether we need to do that.
yeah,
Might just be might not be using physical signals on the actual layout. It might be just related to, simulated signals on the actual JMRI panel.
let's see if I
yeah,
can
that's fine.
let's see if I can bring something up with pictures in it. Physics trains, technical trains.
I've just removed you, Roy, while Richard, while you're searching, just so that
I'm not.
when you find what it is, then we'll put you back on. I'm just aware that we've got to be careful. We
I found
don't share things we shouldn't be sharing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I found it.
Okay, there we are. Okay.
There. There we are. There. Okay. This is the output. This is the output of the decoder, depending on the preset. Switches are preset 0 here. So the preset is a physical thing that I have to program the decoder with. If I program the decoder with preset 0, my LED will flash because it's used it's the same output as a switch, which has a coil. So what I'm trying to do is I have to set it to preset 1. And here, here you can see preset 1 is, I'm using the inverse of that. I'm using a common anode with a resistor on it and 2 LEDs. And this is what I have to do in order to get, this is what I had to do in order to get the SSL logic working. I now have to figure out how to do the same thing with the SML logic. But
So,
I haven't done it yet because I wanted to go through the transits in the dispatcher first, using SSL before I go after SML.
So what is that actual, as you call it, a decoder doing? Is that not just an output module or stroke input stroke output module that's being driven from JMRI?
I'm sorry, could you repeat what you said?
Where you've got the connections going into that, the module itself,
okay.
isn't that just a standard input stroke output module
Here.
that is being controlled from JMRI, or is there actually intelligence within that module?
Okay, what you have, this is the command control of DigiCase. It corresponds to the equivalent of a Z21 or what have you. In terms, this is the black box here connected to the here, which controls the outputs to the lights and or switches. JMRI knows how to address the command station. So I'm using JMRI to address the command station.
Yeah.
And that I also have another black box or 2 more black boxes to detect the occupation of a different type. And JMRI through the command station knows how to address the switch controller and my other boxes.
Yeah, is that S88 protocol?
It's a LocoNet protocol.
Are you using LocoNet still? Okay. Yeah. So basically, if you have a LocoNet mast set, if you set a mast up and then you use a DCC LocoNet address, then if that mast data is sent down to that will get through to there, won't it? The challenge is, as soon as you start introducing more complex kit to do mast switching, I mean, these things were designed to stand alone from computers and not really designed to work with them sometimes, because they're kind of more sophisticated. They're attempting to do the job JMRI is doing. So in a way, things are getting doubled up. And the issue is that if you have kit which does clever things, if it's not reporting back to JMRI what it's doing, does JMRI know what it's doing? That's where, if it's doing internal stuff, what amount of that do you not need to do in JMRI? Or if it's, it gets a little bit, where's the responsibility for doing the control, really?
What I'm trying to do is turn off all the internal logic in my switching decoder. So my switching decoder essentially has no logic except this very simple logic over here, where you have inverted, where it will invert it. Let's see if I can bring that up better.
Yeah, that's good.
Oops, what happened? I lost the page. I lost the page. There. The simple logic you can see now clearly. It's inverted. This is two LEDs and with a common, and they put the resistors on the outside. So what I'm using is a common resistor, and the LED connections are direct. And this is the simplest thing that I think I can use. So this is what I'm trying to use with the local net addresses. And JMRI is not set up to do this type of thing. And so I have to figure out how using this preset, which is preset 1, how it works. It works quite well with SSL. Now I have to see how it works with SNL.
Yeah, what you can end up with is two decisions getting made for the same thing, and if the logic's different, you'll end up with different decisions and different outcomes.
Right, but with this simple preset, which is preset 1 essentially. It's the simplest, and I don't think I worked my way through it with SSL. I haven't yet worked my way through it with SNL.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to have to be going.
Okay, I think we've probably been on here for over an hour and a half now, haven't we? So I think maybe Richard, next time it would be useful to hear how you've done that with SML. Would you mind kind of just preparing yourself to do a little talk on Wednesday next week about how you've achieved that?
I can do it with SSL. Yes.
Yeah, just I'll be interested to hear how you've done that with SSL, and then yeah.
I'm not
All right, then. I'll see you again,
sure.
lads.
The problem for me is Wednesday, since I'm going into the hospital on Sunday for them to change my pacemaker.
Oh, well, good luck with that, Richard.
Yeah, I'm hoping
I
so.
hope to see you next week. Now I've got to go. Speak to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See ya.
just my apology if anyone's listening. Just ending this stream, my laptop died, and so my apologies to everyone. If you're still watching by this point, good on you, and we'll meet again next week. Cheers, bye.